All right, we are going to look at adding and subtracting integers with counters. So we have been practicing integers, but today we are going to specifically look at counters. So when using counters, we must use zero pairs, okay? And a zero pair is a positive, so a positive and a negative that cancel each other out. So we need one positive, one negative, and then they are going to cancel each other. So let's look at our first example. We have negative 5 plus 3. We are adding integers. Integers are negatives. So the first thing we need to do, which we have learned, is we are going to circle our numbers and make our table. So I have a negative 5 and a positive 3. So there's nothing that changes here. There's no symbols that change, negative 5 and positive 3. So if I make my table, my integer table, okay, remember we have positive here, negative here. Okay, so I have a positive 3 and a negative 5. So now we're going to use counters. So over here we have a key. It says that open circles are positive 1 and closed circles are negative 1, okay? So we could also write that here. So my positives are going to be open and my negatives are going to be shaded in. So that will kind of help us keep track of our key as well. So what we are going to do is we are going to have 3 positives, and again, those are open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 1, 2, 3. That represents my 3 positives. And then I have 5 negatives. So when we do counters, we are going to line them up. So I am going to put my 5 directly below my 3, and then I need 2 more. And then remember, those are shaded in. So that is what we have. We have our positive 3. So there's 1, 2, 3. And then negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now this is where the zero pair comes in. We have a positive and a negative, and we are going to mark out those matches. So I have a positive and a negative, a positive and a negative. Whatever is left over, because there's no more positives, whatever is left over is my answer. So I have 2 negatives, so this equals negative 2. And that is how we do counters. Okay, so let's look at example number 2. I have negative 4 plus negative 7. So I am going to circle my numbers. Remember, we circled a negative 4. But back here, I have to circle everything. Remember, everything goes in a circle. So I have a negative 4. But then on this one, good versus evil, evil wins. So this is a negative 7. And then I can draw my table. Remember, I have positives here, negatives here, and then I have negative 4, and then I also have negative 7. So we do not have any positives on this one. So on my key, shaded in are positive, open are negative. So let's go ahead and draw our counters. So my first number is negative 4, so I am going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, and I could even put a negative sign on them if I wanted to, okay? And then I also have negative 7. So again, I'm going to line those up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and again, if we wanted to, we could put negative signs in those as well. So after we draw our counters, we can then mark out our zero pairs. But remember, zero pairs need a positive and a negative. All I have is negatives, so there are no zero pairs. So this whole thing is my answer. So I just need to count them up. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So my answer is negative 11. There are no zero pairs there. All right, example number 3. 6 minus 10 Okay, if I think to myself, if I have 6, can I take away 10? No. So that's going to give me a negative answer. So let's again use our 0 pairs. So I have a positive 6 and a minus 10. Remember, that all goes in there. So that's a negative 10. I can draw my table. Positives here, negatives here. I have positive 6, negative 10. Okay, so on this one, they don't give me a key, so I'm going to make my own kind of key. So what I'm going to do is my positives are just going to have a positive symbol, and my negatives are going to be a negative symbol. So that's what I'm going to use for those. So I have 6 positives, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and again, those are positives, so I'm going to put a plus sign in them. And then I have 10 negatives, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to put a negative sign in those. And then I'm going to mark out my 0 pairs. Need a positive and negative, so I can get rid of that one. All of my matches. And whatever is left is my answer. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and those are negative, so my answer is negative 4. All right, example 4. Let's do this one. I have negative 8, and then I have all of this stuff in my circle. Remember, a minus and a negative, those go together and make a positive. Okay, we should know that. And then I can draw my table. I got positives here, negatives here. Okay, I have a positive 4 and a negative 8. Okay, and again, no key, so I am just going to use my positive circle and my negative circle. So I have positive 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, put my positive sign. And then I have 8 negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and those need a negative sign. And then again, get rid of our 0 pairs. So mark out all the ones that are same, whatever is left is my answer. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, those are negatives. So my answer is negative 4. So that's how you can solve with counters. On example 5, it's a little bit different. They give us the counters and they want us to write an equation that is true based on the picture. So they gave us a picture in this one. So we learned that we have to use the key. Okay, so my open are positive. So I can go ahead and label these are my positive. Okay, and the shaded are negative. So these are all negatives. So let's label how many counters I have of each. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have positive 5 right here. And then I have 1, 2, 3, negative 3. So I'm going to have negative 3 and positive 5 in this piece of my answer choices, because those are the 2 pieces that we would have to draw for. So now what I need to do is I need to go through and circle and make sure I have a negative 3 and a positive 5. So this one, this is a negative 3, so that part is good, and a positive 5. So I am good there. On this one, again, I have a negative 3 and a positive 5, so that's good. This one, I have a negative 3. Okay, and this one has a bunch of parentheses in it, but just remember, I have to have everything circled. So I have a positive and a negative. So good versus evil, evil wins. So that one has a negative 5. We want a positive, so C is gone. Okay, and on this one, I have a positive 3. which I need a -3, so D is gone. So I am between A and B. They both have a -3 and a +5. So the only thing different now that we are looking at is the answer. So this one equals -2, this one equals +2. So we need to go up here and get rid of our 0 pairs. So if I get rid of those 0 pairs, remember whatever is left is my answer. So my answer is 2, and they are positive, so my answer would be 2. This one, again, remember, is -2. This one is +2. So B has all the right pieces. It has a -3, a +5, and then the answer of a +2. And that is how we use counters.